What up, guys? JP back at you once again, bring you guys day number 25, review 25 in my 11th annual 31 Days of Horror. And today's watch is actually another revisit, and that is Session 9 from the year 2001. So this is a film that I watched a couple of years ago for the summer series with Duncan McLeish over on the podcast Under the Stairs. And it was the first time watch back then. And I was very impressed with it. And this movie kind of stuck with me a little bit. And just a couple of years ago, I watched it and I already felt like revisiting it, which isn't a very common thing with me. Usually, I'm not a big rewatcher like I was when I was a kid. There's just too much stuff to see now that I haven't seen, that I'm not a huge rewatcher, especially if it in a close vicinity of the first time I seen it. But this one, I was in the mood for something spooky, something dialogue heavy, something to just chill out late at night last night, and I went with Session 9. So does it hold up to where I had it previously? I gotta say, yeah, it does. So this film follows a group of, I don't even know what the hell they are, like hazmat elimination people. Basically, there is this giant, and I mean giant, mental hospital that has been closed for 15 years, and our lead character, Gordy, who sort of owns this hazmat elimination company thing, he basically puts a bid in for this job, and he's sort of fallen on hard times lately, so he pretty much begs for the job. Originally they say it's going to take like 3 weeks, then they bump it down to 2 weeks, and then he says he'll finish it in 1 week. That sort of gets him the job, and then there's also a bonus attached to finishing in a week. He gets a crew to come on board with him. You have Hank and the redheaded dude, who I can't remember his name, but they sort of have a beef thing going on because Hank basically stole the redheaded dude's girlfriend. I think it's Phil. Phil is his name, I believe. And then you have another dude, I think Mike or Michael. He's sort of like very smart dude. He has a lot of information. He was studying to be like a lawyer or something before he stopped and went to work as a hazmat elimination type guy working with asbestos, really. That seems to be the theme of what they're doing. They're getting rid of asbestos. And then there's like a young kid who's Gordy's nephew or something like that. So they begin cleaning this giant mental hospital, and they start uncovering some, at least Mike is really fascinated with sort of the history of it. He knows a little bit about some of the stuff that went on there. There was this woman named like Mary something who was an infamous patient there, or Anne or something, I forget her name. But he finds this like tape, these recordings, this reel-to-reel recording tape in the basement, and it's all these sessions of sort of not counseling, but these sort of therapy session type things, doctor patient session things. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. And they're all listed like Session 1 all the way up to Session 9, which is where the title comes from. But they start hearing stuff, seeing stuff. It's kind of weird. It sounds like just a typical like ghost film, but it's not at all. It's very different. And it's actually one of the cooler aspects of this film is it's actually like shot really well. There are like so many great shots where the camera's like far away and there's two characters on one side of the wall and like on the other side of the wall like talking, and like all these open doorways and stuff like that. And there's actually just some really cool shots in this film for being such a like tame movie. It's very simple. It's just mainly like 4 or 5 guys in this building for the most part talking, and then there is some like backstory stuff with Gordy. He's a recent father. He's having trouble with his wife, stuff like that. You definitely sense that something's going on with him. And they all sort of have some things going on with them, except for maybe the youngest character. they sort of all have these problems and sort of things that can lead you to believe that maybe something's going on with them, you know. And I just think this movie is like very well done. I love the location. I love the vibe of this place. These lots of metal and just like run down hospital setting type thing. It's such a cool setting for a movie, and it's a really cool. I wouldn't even call it like a ghost story. It's an interesting like psychological like haunting type movie, but it's very different. I haven't really seen many things like this movie. The performances are all really good. There's actually some very like intense moments. There's a scene like towards the third act where everybody's sort of splitting up, and it's like very intense and like you're not really seeing much, but it's just cutting to each character, and you're trying to piece together the puzzle of this movie, and you're like, what the hell is going on? And the most hilarious thing about this is I just watched this a couple years ago and I completely forgot like what even happens in the end of this film. I was trying to remember. I'm like, what? I was like, is it ghosts? Is it someone's nuts? Like, what is going on in this movie? Who's doing all this? Is this? I could not remember for the life of me, and I think that's like a good thing because it made the rewatch great, you know. And then towards the very end, oh yeah, I remember how this plays out. But very, very, very solid. If you've never seen it, you know, it's pretty cool, man. I recommend checking it out. I give this one an 8 out of 10. Solid, solid, solid. So with that said, I guess I'll see you guys next time with another review. Don't know what I'm going to be watching, but I'll find out soon. Peace.